Hi, my name is Zoe Medina, and this is my Johari Window. So let's begin with my open area window. These are aspects about myself that I'm familiar with and that others are familiar with too, and I found it most appropriate to begin by saying that I'm very confident. I do things without regard for what other people may say or think about me. You'll see in this video or in this photo on my slide that I am playing golf for the first time and I missed terribly. I do things and I mess up, but I do it with confidence because I really think that once you try and try again, you'll be able to accomplish whatever you want. Next off, I'm very studious. I value my academics more than anything, and that's just the way that I was raised. You'll see here this photo of me and my physics project my senior year. Finally, I am adventurous. I love exploring new places, new environments. This is me and my mom at the Buddhist temple in Hawaii, which was an amazing experience because I was able to learn more about a culture that I wasn't familiar with. Moving on to my facade window. So my facade window is aspects about myself that I'm familiar with, but others aren't. And this was still a little easier for me to do. I start off by saying that I'm academically insecure. I came from a high school where the prestige of the college that you went to was reflective of your intellectual capabilities. And because I wasn't going to a top school, I felt that I wasn't as intelligent as my peers. And this has stuck with me for a while and caused me to be very hard on myself, which not a lot of people are aware of. I'm also very Catholic, and I just grew up this way. I grew up going to church, I grew up praying constantly, but it's not something that I share a lot with others because I do feel that the Catholic Church has specific beliefs about certain social issues that don't necessarily align with my personal beliefs, and people tend to make the assumption that because I'm Catholic, I share these beliefs as well, which I don't. But so consequently, I just don't really share that I'm Catholic with others. I'm also very anxious. I tend to get very anxious in certain situations which not a lot of people know about. It's just not something that I've grown to be comfortable discussing with others, but I've definitely learned to acknowledge myself. Moving on to my blind spot window. So this one was definitely a little harder for me because it's aspects about myself that I'm not familiar with, but others are familiar with. But I ended up concluding that I am shy and awkward according to my coworkers who are with me about 25 hours a day. Something about me changes. I think I'm just not quite comfortable yet. I'm on the newer side, and so everyone thinks I am just super quiet and shy and I don't talk, which is very, very hard for me to understand because I just perceive myself as the most talkative person. A lot of people also perceive me as affectionate, which I think is very good. I love to express my affection to others in my life, and I think that's very important. I don't even really recognize how often I do it, but according to my friends, I do it quite a bit. Finally, I tend to get isolated, especially after COVID-19. If you give me a book or a TV show, I will go missing and I will not leave my room for 5 days and forget to talk to anyone else just because I'm so invested in what I'm doing. And I don't even realize that I'm doing it until someone asks me, "Where have you been?" Moving on to my unknown window. So this one was the most difficult for me. My unknown window is aspects about myself that I'm not familiar with and that others aren't familiar with too. So I had to really think hard for this one. But I concluded that I'm not very cultural. So a lot of people think that because I'm half Mexican, I'm very familiar with the culture, and I don't really acknowledge this part at all about me. But because I grew up with a rather distant relationship from my father, who was Mexican, I don't really have the closest relationship to my Mexican culture. I'm not familiar with the foods, the traditions, I don't speak Spanish, and so I'm not too immersed in the culture, which is something that I definitely want to improve on, but now I'm a little more aware of. I'm also very uncertain. Like many other people like me, I don't even know where I'm going to college once I transfer in the next 2 years, and not knowing where I'm going to be in 2 years is a little bit scary. A lot of people think that I have my life together. I feel like I have my life together, but ultimately I don't really know where I'm going to be in 2 years. I don't know what city I'm going to be living in, which is a little scary. But ultimately, I think that the Johari Window assignment is really important because it allows people to recognize aspects of themselves that they don't really acknowledge. And I think that when we acknowledge certain aspects about ourselves that we weren't once familiar with, we prompt our personal growth and we allow ourselves to get to know ourselves better and maybe change the way that we act and how we are as people. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my project.